Hey, what's up, people of the world? Welcome back to the Career Pack Podcast. My name's Neil Patel. I'm the host of this pod. And man, this new mic that I got, it's making me a little bit lazy because I just like sitting here plugging it in and talking. So I'm gonna do that today. It really is. But I have something really interesting that I want to talk about. There are so many things in our life that we know are easy to do. When we just read something, when we see a video, when we have someone tell us something, we're like, oh, that's easy. I can go ahead and do that. But why is it so hard? Sometimes it's so hard to just like stay consistent with something. You do it for a week, you do it for 3 days, you do it for a month, and then it's just like boom, gone. And I want to read a couple of things that I read that were really interesting regarding how some things can be so easy, but yet our mind, our routines, our day to day lives can make it so hard. Please ignore the beeping in the background. That's my fridge beeping because my grandma left it open. That's okay. That's how she is. But anyway, I want to read a part of a book from or the book, The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. I've done episodes on this book so many times, but I want to read some stuff because this guy can write it a lot better and say it a lot better than I can. And then I'll kind of debrief after. So I'll read a little bit. It says, meditation and mental strength. An emotion is our evolved bio. Wow. Maybe if I could speak. An emotion is our evolved biology predicting the future impact of a current event. In modern settings, it's usually exaggerated or wrong. So, why is meditation so powerful? Your breath is one of the few places where imagine if I could speak, that would be amazing. Your breath is one of the few places where your auto autonomic 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 nervous system meets your voluntary nervous system. It's involuntary, but you can also control it. I think a lot of meditation practices put an emphasis on the breath because it is a getaway into your autonomic 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 nervous system. There are many, many cases in the medical and spiritual literature of people controlling your bodies at levels that should be autonomous. Your mind is such a powerful thing. What's so unusual about your forebrain sending signals to your hindbrain and your hindbrain routing resources to your entire body? You can do it by just breathing. Relaxed breathing tells your body you're safe. Then your forebrain doesn't need as many resources as it normally does. Now, the extra energy can be sent into your hindbrain and it can reroute those resources to the rest of your body. Hold on, let me get to a better part. Oh, here we go. I highly recommend listening to the Tim Ferriss's podcast with Wim Hof. Wim Hof. He is a walking miracle. Wim's nickname is the Iceman. He holds the record for the world's longest time spent in an ice bath and swimming in freezing cold water. I was very inspired by him not only because he's capable of superhuman physical feats, but because he does it while being incredibly kind and happy, which is not easy to accomplish. He advocates cold exposure because he believes people are too separate from their natural environment. We're constantly cold or clothed, fed, and warm. Our bodies have lost touch with the cold. The cold is important because it can activate the immune system. So he advocates taking long ice baths. Being from the Indian subcontinent, I'm strongly against the idea of ice baths, but Wim inspired me to give cold showers a try. And I did so by using the Wim Hof breathing method. It involves hyperventilating to get more oxygen into your blood, which raises your core temperature. Then you go into the shower. The first few cold showers were hilarious because I'd slowly ease myself in, wincing the entire way. I started about 4 or 5 months ago. Now I turn on the shower full blast and then I walk right in. I don't give myself time to hesitate. As soon as I hear the voice in my head telling me how cold it is going to be, I know I have to walk in. I learned a very important lesson from this. Most of our suffering comes from avoidance. Most of the suffering from a cold shower is the tiptoeing your way in. Once you're in, you're in. It's not suffering, it's just cold. Your body saying it's cold is different than your mind saying it's cold. Acknowledge your body saying it's cold. Look at it, deal with it, accept it, but don't mentally suffer over it. Taking a cold shower for 2 minutes isn't going to kill you. Having a cold shower helps you relearn that lesson every morning. Now, hot showers are just one less thing I need out of my life. And then they also have a question that he answers. Do you have a current meditation practice? And he says, I think meditation is like dieting, where everyone is supposedly following a regimen. Everyone says they do it, but nobody actually does it. The real set of people who meditate on a regular basis, I've found, are pretty rare. I've identified and tried at least 4 different forms of meditation. The one I found works best for me is called choiceless awareness or non judgmental awareness. As you're going about your daily business and you're not talking to anybody else, you practice learning to accept the moment you're in without making judgments. You don't think, "Oh, there's a homeless guy over there. Better cross the street." Or look at something or look at someone running by and say, "Dang, he's out of shape and I'm in better shape than him." If I saw a guy with a bad hair day, I would at first think, "Ha ha, he has a bad hair day." Well, why am I laughing at him to make myself feel better about me? I'm gonna read that again. Well, why am I laughing at him to make me feel better about myself? And why am I trying to make me feel better about my own hair? Because I'm losing my hair and I'm afraid that it's going to go away. What I find is 90% of thoughts I have are fear based. The other 10% may be desire based. You don't make any decisions, you don't judge anything, you just accept everything. If I do that for 10 or 15 minutes while walking around, I end up in a very peaceful and grateful state. Choiceless awareness works well for me. He said you could also do transcendental. Dude, I am so bad at pronouncing things. You could also do transcendental med wow. You could also do transcendental meditation, which is where you're using repetitive chanting to create a white noise in your head to bury your thoughts. Or you can just very keenly and very alertly be aware of your thoughts as they happen. As you watch your thoughts, you realize how many of them are fear based. The moment you recognize a fear without even trying, it goes away. After a while, your mind quiets. When your mind quiets, you stop talking or taking everything around you for granted. You start to notice the details. You think, wow, I live such a beautiful life. It's so great that I have clothes and I can go to Starbucks and get a coffee at any time. Look at these people. Each one has a perfectly valid and complete life going on in their own heads. It pops us out of a story we're constantly telling ourselves. If you stop talking to yourself for even 10 minutes, and if you stop obsessing over your own story, you'll realize we are really far up Maslow's hierarchy of needs and life is pretty dang good. He said another method I've learned is just sit there and close your eyes for at least 1 hour a day. You surrender to whatever happens. Don't make any effort whatsoever. You make no effort for something and you make no effort against anything. If there are thoughts running through your mind, you let those thoughts run. For your entire life, things have been happening to you, some good, some bad, most of which you have processed and dissolved. But a few stuck with you. Over time, more and more stuck with you, and they almost became like these barnacles stuck to you. You lost your childhood sense of wonder and of being present and happy. You lost your inner happiness because you built up this personality of unresolved pain, errors, fears, and desires that gloomed onto you like a bunch of barnacles. Over time, you will resolve a lot of these deep seated, unresolved things you have in your mind. Once they're resolved, there will come a day when you sit down to meditate and you'll hit a mental inbox zero. When you open your mental email and there are none, which is a pretty amazing feeling. It's a state of joy and bliss and peace. And once you have it, you don't want to give it up. If you can get a free hour of bliss every morning just by sitting and closing your eyes, that is worth its weight in gold. It will change your life. Meditation isn't hard. All you have to do there is sit there and do nothing. Just sit down, close your eyes, and say, I'm just going to give myself a break for an hour. This is my hour off from life. This is the hour I'm not going to do anything. If thoughts come, thoughts come. I'm not going to fight them. I'm not going to embrace them. I'm not going to think harder about them. I'm not going to reject them. I'm just going to sit there for an hour or sit here for an hour with my eyes closed and I'm just going to do nothing. How hard is that? Why can you not do anything for an hour? What's so hard about giving yourself an hour long break? I'll stop there and I'll stop there and talk about a few things. So, you see how he talks about how meditation is literally like sitting there and doing nothing for 1 hour? I find it so interesting how, well, if you are secure within yourself and you don't really have like problems getting attached to thoughts and have like negative intrusive thoughts, which I feel like a lot of people do. So I think everyone should try it. Sitting there and doing nothing for an hour. I've never done it for an hour. The most I've done it for is like 30 minutes. But it seems like so easy. But then when you're actually in the midst of it, for me, the thing that gives me a little bit of like fear is sometimes I want to like run away from my thoughts and I don't really want to sit in them. I get attached to it and I don't just observe them. When you get attached to that thought, it just becomes like you get scared because it's like, yo, what if the thought comes true? And then that thought leads to 10 more, and those 10 lead to another 100. And the next thing you know, like the meditation is over, but you didn't really have a proper meditation session because all you were doing is just getting attached to things and not just letting things come and letting things go. And then The other thing that I wanted to talk about, there we go. Oh, the cold shower thing. Okay, so if you guys don't know, I've taken a cold shower every day for like the first 30 seconds to a minute at minimum for probably like the past 5 or 6 months. Every day. Yeah, maybe consistently since March or April. And it's been fun. Every time I get in the cold shower, my mind feels so calm, at ease. It's like a big reset for my body. I don't think, I just do it. Obviously, there's days where I'm like, man, I don't want to jump into this thing. But then once you get in it, you feel so good. So I think the overarching message of this entire passage that I read is that just sit for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and do nothing. That's it. Don't even think about it as like meditating. Just sit there, close your eyes, and just do nothing. You're not going to get attached to things. You're not going to do things. You're not going to fidget or get distracted. You're just going to do nothing. And that's the way I think about it. I just want to do nothing for 10 minutes. And then the other thing is the whole cold exposure thing. I think it's great. It's great to like if you're having a long day and you just need something to just like reset your brain, reset your body, reset your entire mood, honestly, go take a cold shower. Literally 1 minute, 2 minutes in like piping cold water, and then that's it. Like you could either turn it to hot water or you could just get out. Either way, it's amazing. So I highly, highly recommend it. As soon as I'm done with this podcast, I am actually about to go take a cold shower and then head out for the day. So please keep those things in mind. They are easy, but your mind is the thing that makes it very, very hard. I hated cold water. I hated cold showers. But now every time I jump into it, I genuinely have like a big end to end smile because it's like, yes, I'm doing something that's hard that my body was rejecting. But now that I'm in it, I didn't give myself the chance to hesitate or the chance to think. And now that I'm in it, it feels amazing. And it's the same thing with anything that you do in your life. If you keep hesitating and if you keep like thinking, which I am victim to a lot of the time, we got to make the doing part and like being in the midst of it as the goal. Like that's it. And yeah, it's easy, but we make it hard. That's all I really have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And you know, I was thinking about editing out all my stuttering and all my ability to like non enunciate things and spell things out or sound things out, which is pretty embarrassing. I'm not going to lie, but whatever. I'm going to keep it in. I don't really give a fluff. So hope you guys enjoy that as well. And if you did, feel free to, or if you do, if you did enjoy that, if you do enjoy that, share this pod with a friend. Follow me on socials at the Career Pack Podcast. And lastly, leave me a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star review. I would appreciate it a ton. And like I always say, my friends, take care. Tell someone that you love them and go do something nice for someone today because they genuinely deserve it. Much love, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.